Hello YouTubers, Alaska Prepper here. I'm going to do a quick video on a news article that Hudal, one of our subscribers, one of my first subscribers here on the Alaska Prepper channel. So thank you, Hoot, for sending me this. And as you can see the title here, it says Venezuela's massive currency devaluation is a scam and does nothing to ease its economic crisis, analysts say. So I'm actually going to read the whole article because it's not that long. All right, so let's go ahead and start off. In a radical attempt to end a prolonged period of economic turmoil in the oil-rich but cash-poor nation, Venezuelan President Nicolas Maduro announced Friday that his socialist administration would issue new banknotes after lopping 5 zeros off the beleaguered Bolivar. Quote, "I want the country to recover and I have the formula. Trust me," end quote, Maduro said in a speech broadcast on a state television Friday evening. The IMF, International Monetary Fund, has predicted that inflation in the country will exceed 1,000,000% this year. That's incredible. And it says here, a major currency overhaul in Venezuela is due to come into effect Monday, meaning yesterday, with critics of the move fearful it will exacerbate hyperinflation in the crisis-stricken country. In a radical attempt to end a prolonged period of economic turmoil, the oil-rich but cash-poor nation, Venezuela President Nicolas Maduro, announced Friday that his socialist administration would issue new banknotes after lopping 5 zeros off the Bolivar. The move effectively devalues Venezuela's currency by around 96%. Wow, they're doing in 1 or 2 days what took the U.S. a little over 100 years to do. That's incredible. With the Bolivar set to go from about 285,000 bolivars per dollar to 6 million bolivars per dollar. Other measures announced in Maduro's speech to the nation last week included highly subsidized gas prices, a higher corporate tax rate, and a massive minimum wage increase. Now, so that you all can see, oops, I shouldn't have done that. Let's go back. There we go. Sorry about that, ladies and gentlemen. I already had that page open. So we left off where their gas prices are going to be highly subsidized, a higher corporate rate, and a massive minimum wage increase. All right. Now, if you click on this link right here, it'll take you to this page right here. And the minimum wage increase is going to go up 60-fold from 3 million bolivars to 180 million bolivars, and this I'm pretty sure is monthly. Okay, so it's going to go up from 5 cents, which is about what 3 million bolivars equals. This here says $30, but I think it's $3. I think this ends up being $3 because 60-fold from 5 cents is $3. So I could be mistaken, but I don't think it's going to be $30 a month. I think it's going to be $3. That will likely increase unemployment and further fuel mass immigration that has overwhelmed neighboring South American countries. Okay, so I'm going to go back to the original article now. Economists say that by introducing the proposed measures, Maduro's administration is only likely to make matters worse. Caracas' cash-strapped government has recently defaulted on its bondholders and is currently facing the prospect of further U.S. sanctions. Now, ladies and gentlemen, let me interject real quick. I don't understand why Venezuela is facing U.S. sanctions. I don't know what they have done to the U.S. I mean, if anyone out there knows, please put it on the comments. I don't know what Venezuela has done to the United States of America that they should be getting sanctioned. From what I understand, we import oil from Venezuela. So why are we sanctioning them? If we're sanctioning them, it must mean that we don't agree with their policies or with the way that their government runs their country or what they're doing. So why are we buying oil from them? I'm I'm bewildered by that fact right there. Because I do believe that we buy about 2.6 million barrels a month or something like that. I'm not sure, 2.6 million barrels a month or a day, but all I know is that we're buying oil from them. Why? If we're putting sanctions on them. Anyways, carrying on. Luis Vicente Leon, president of the Caracas-based pollster uh, Data Analysis, I don't know what that is, said Venezuela's latest package of economic measure is likely to cause major problems for domestic businesses. The transition to apply the concrete elements of the proposal, exponential increase in salaries, massive requests for advancement of benefits, and increase in change of frequency of tax payments, puts companies in a situation of catastrophic cash flow, Leon said in a tweet posted on Friday. Trust me, Venezuela's revamped currency, set to be named the sovereign bolivar, is ordered to distinguish it. Said to be named the sovereign bolivar in order to distinguish it from the strong bolivar, will also be pegged to the country's widely discredited petro cryptocurrency. That's right, because Venezuela has a petro cryptocurrency. I want the country to recover, and I have a formula, trust me, Maduro said in a speech broadcast on state television Friday evening. They've dollarized our price. I am petrolizing salaries and petrolizing prices. We are going to convert the petrol into the reference that pegs the entire economy's movement, he added. The Venezuelan economy is heavily dependent on oil exports, which once made the country very rich. It's said to have the largest proven oil reserves in the world. Oil leaving the country accounts for about 90% of its total exports. When oil prices began to collapse in 2014, the cash received by Caracas dropped significantly, bringing new economic challenges. To be sure, the International Monetary Fund has predicted inflation in the country will exceed 1 million% this year. In reality, nothing changes. Steve Hank, an applied economics professor at Johns Hopkins University, said that in the absence of a dramatic shift in the country's economic policy, Maduro's currency devaluation is meaningless. Linking the new bolivar to the petro is a scam. Appearances change, but in reality nothing changes. That's what's in store for the bolivar, a facelift, Hank said via Twitter on Sunday. The regime of Nicolas Maduro, who replaced Hugo Chavez in 2013, opted to keep the official exchange rate overhauled and tightened the government's control over access to U.S. dollars, meaning that it became harder for Venezuelans to change their bolivars, the national currency, for the greenback. This further increased the number of bolivars available and provoked a decrease in imported goods. Lower imports boosted domestic prices, thus taking inflation to record levels. Given the scale of the mounting problems in Venezuela, many citizens are opting to flee the country. According to data from the United Nations published last May, over 1.5 million people have left since 2014. The high number of people leaving Venezuela brings further economic problems. Not only does the country become a victim of so-called brain drain, but it also begins to lack a labor force. So there you go, ladies and gentlemen. This is the latest article from Venezuela, accounting to what's going on there. And I do have a couple of things to say about this. So remember now, don't believe everything you read. I noticed that in this article, they kept using the word socialist. And now, I don't agree with socialism, okay? I don't. But don't misunderstand what's going on in Venezuela as just because of socialism. Yes, in my view, what I think is socialism does not work, all right? But there are several factors that have helped this situation come to fruit, all right, or come to fruition, right? I do know that all of these sanctions that are being put on Venezuela for I don't know what reason doesn't help. I do know that the back in 2013, 2014, whenever it was that the price of oil plummeted, I do know that that has a lot to do with it. And I do know that nations knew what was going to happen. Saudi Arabia knew what would happen um, when they kept producing oil at a rate higher than what was being used or needed throughout the world. Okay? I feel that, or I think that when you look at everything, there are forces at play that wanted this to happen to Venezuela. And I don't say that meaning the Venezuelan government. I'm sure that there were other countries involved in making decisions that they knew would hurt Venezuela for whatever reasons they have, all right? Whether it be because they want to change the administration in Venezuela, whether it be because they want to get cheaper oil from Venezuela, I don't know. But all I know is that you cannot trust everything you read, especially coming from a mainstream news channel. Okay, so this channel right here. Okay, so there is an individual on YouTube that I visit every once in a while. I believe his name, the YouTube channel's name is called Florida Marquise. And this person does very good research. So if you guys want to go check him out, I'll leave the link to his channel on the description if you guys want to go check him out, because he has a totally different perspective on what's going on in Venezuela, or the reasons why what's happening in Venezuela is happening now. He has a totally different perspective, and a lot of what he says makes sense to me because it looks like he's really done his homework. Okay, because it's really easy for me to read this article and then just give you my opinion on what this article says. But what the Florida Marquise, what that guy on that channel does is he breaks everything down and he kind of like dummies it down to where anyone can understand what he's saying. And what's going on in Venezuela goes a lot farther or a lot deeper than just socialism, I think. Okay, from looking at different viewpoints. Okay, so having said that, ladies and gentlemen, remember that I am not here to take sides on what is happening in Venezuela and why it's happening. The reason I like showing these articles, the reason I like reading these articles and talking about things like this is because it doesn't matter how the Venezuelan people got where they're at. What matters is that they got there, right? They're not in a very good place right now, but they got there nonetheless. And the fact of the matter is that those Venezuelans that decided to prepare prior to these things, coming to pass, are a lot better off than those that did not prepare because they had 100% trust in their governments. So that's what I advocate. I advocate to learn from these things, to learn from these articles, to learn from what's going on in other countries. It really doesn't matter to the average person in Venezuela how they got where they are. It really doesn't matter that they're getting a 5 zeros lobbed off their currency because their inflation is so high. It really doesn't matter to them that, minimum wage right now in Venezuela, a month's minimum wage, which is what, like 3 million bolivars, is enough to maybe buy them 4 or 5 cups of coffee. So they would have to work for a whole month to be able to afford a few cups of coffee. Okay, it really doesn't matter to them how they got there. What matters to them now, at this time, right now, is what are they going to do to survive? So those Venezuelans that had the foresight to prepare, that had the foresight to maybe store away some extra food, to have a garden, all right, to maybe store a little bit of their value or of their wealth in the form of gold and silver, All right, those Venezuelans right now are doing a lot better than your average Venezuelan that's trying to figure out how they're going to provide for their families. Okay, so having said that, I'm going to leave it at that for now, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you again, Hoot, for bringing this article up. I appreciate it. If you all have anything that you think would interest our community, like an article like this, by all means, shoot me an email with the article and the link, and I will take a look at it and hopefully have a few minutes during the day to go over it with you all. Okay, and like I said again, I will put the YouTube channel link to Florida Marquis on the description, so you guys can go take a look at it if you like. All right, his videos are not very long, but they are very good videos. You can tell that he spends a lot of time researching his videos. All right, ladies and gentlemen, having said that, remember to be good to each other. Remember that when good people do good things happen. Remember to reach one, teach one, and repeat. If we all did this, the world would be a better place, and you know that it will be a better place. Many blessings to all of you and your families. This is Alaska Prepper, and I'm out.